What made Uncharted so awesome? Running, shooting, climbing, jumping, explosions, 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 airplanes crashing, trains dangling, ships sinking? Or was it just the fact that you got to play through each and every one of those things yourself? It has been over 8 years since Uncharted 4 released. 8 years since the beloved series of Nathan Drake and company came to an end. Spanning 9 years, 4 main entries, dozens of set pieces, ludonarrative dissonance, and 41 million copies sold worldwide for a first-party, linear, story-driven, character-based series of games. This is something special. But why, though? Part 1. Characters. In a story-driven game, the plot can be a globe-trotting adventure with lots of action and Indiana Jones-esque artifacts and lore. But if you don't have strong characters to move the story along and evolve throughout the experience, then it won't work. The characters need to be the DNA of the story.
Shit. What? It's empty.
What? Oh, you're such an asshole.
It's your brother.
A main part of why we love these games are the characters. All of the main characters and main side characters have depth and are three-dimensional. And as the series went on, we went deeper and deeper into who these characters are.
Are you sure you want to be defiling your ancestors' remains like that?
You make it sound so dirty. Besides, thought you didn't believe me.
Well, I did do my research, and apparently Francis Drake didn't have any children.
Well, history can't be wrong, you know.
In fact, I suspect I know you better than anyone, Mr. Drake. Of course, that's not your real name, is it? But we won't dwell on that. Mother commits suicide. Father surrenders son to the state at the age of 5. Entrusted to the St. Francis Boys' Home. It's also Dickensian.
Nathan, back at that mansion, you knew just as much about that stuff as that poor old lady. Here, I always felt that we were destined for something great. Until tonight, I didn't know what that meant. But this, Mom's unfinished work, this is our chance to restart our lives with brand new identities.
What are you talking about?
I know some guys. Pretty good at forging papers, too. Now, as for our new name, Mom believed that Sir Francis Drake had heirs. Who's to say he didn't?
You're serious, aren't you?
Nathan, we were meant for this. And I promise, you and me together, we're gonna go far. So what do you say? Nathan Drake?
In the first game, the player sees Nathan Drake as he presents himself to his foes and accomplices as a funny, suave, and very capable man. But we get the feeling that he is always in over his head. And that leads him to sometimes need rescuing by other people. Therefore, he is not a superhero who can get out of every bad situation by himself. He can't take on a guy 3 times his size, and it actually hurts when he throws a punch.
This was somebody who was vulnerable. I remember the first time that we did a punching thing, and I said, hey, what if I hit him and it hurt? You know, I said, I've punched people, it hurts. So he was one of the first people who would hit and go, you know, and when he fell from a height, it knocked the wind out of him and he would struggle to get up. That's what Nate is at his core. He's just a normal guy trying to do the best he can, and he just keeps falling into these extraordinary circumstances and, has to dig his way out of them.
That part of Nate is something we all relate to. He is an everyday man, normal, like us. But he always ends up in these crazy situations because of his interest in history and historic figures like Marco Polo and Sir Francis Drake. And because of his quest and need to follow in their footsteps. This is also one of his main flaws, which will influence his relationships in the future. The Nathan Drake we see in Uncharted 1 is drastically different from the one we end up with in Uncharted 4. Partly because people change, but also because we just understand him better now. Now we know more about him, his past, and his relationships, and can realize that the Nate we see in Uncharted 1 is just the facade of the man in Uncharted 4. For each game in the series, we see more and more of the facade disappearing. And I must give a lot of the credit to the performance by Nolan North, whom I just love. Now,
I think that's one of the most interesting things about this franchise is that characters like Nate, Elena, Sully, that they've been able to age with their audience. Yeah. It's rare. I mean, and I think that's something that helps everybody kind of.
What makes them real?
Makes them real, but it also helps everybody kind of get on board with them and their struggles. Because everybody knows that no matter whether you're 18 and you turn 25, or in this case, 28, 10 years, there's different challenges you face. And there's not just physically, but I mean emotionally and intellectually you face. And I think that's what's great about that. Sully's at a different place as he was from the first one. So is Nate, Elena, and everybody. And now you have new characters come in and they have their whole histories. And I think that's one of the things that helps everybody, I think the word I was looking for is identify with Nathan Drake and Sullivan and Elena and everybody, is that we've all aged with them. We've grown up with them. And there's something about that experience that makes it just a little more real to us.
Now, I could go on and on about Nathan Drake and why I love him, but he is supported by some of the greatest side characters ever.
Nate, come on.
Without Sully as a father figure and mentor, we wouldn't see the more childish, stubborn, and street-smart side of Nate. Sully is known to be generally cheery and lighthearted. He always brings some levity to the scenes he is in.
All right.
Ready?
Well.
It's cute.
What?
Because it's a well.
Shall we?
But Sully brings vulnerability to Nathan because of their deep past and how his love for Nate and Sirius' side comes to show when necessary.
I'm sorry for what happened to you, but it's not his fault.
I never said that it was.
It took a long time for him to get out of this game.
You see a gun to his head? He chose this. Okay, he's meant for this life.
You really believe that?
Why are you here, Victor?
Because somebody's got to keep an eye out for him.
And those scenes hit hard, because Sully is a great character.
That treasure is as good as ours. Shit.
How's the Malaysia job going, Nate?
Nate and Elena's relationship is always changing throughout the games. Even though it's never outright said until Uncharted 3, we understand that Nathan's calling for adventure and glory ultimately ruined the romantic relationship they had between Uncharted 1 and 2, and again, between Uncharted 2 and 3.
I like the way you think.
I know.
No, I mean, that's...
I know what you mean.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Whenever Elena is on screen in the later games, especially Uncharted 4, there is a bubbling sense of guilt within Nathan for everything she had to go through because of him.
Come on, wait. Elena, wait!
I don't get you.
Look, I wanted to tell you.
You know what? Enough.
No, I wanted to, but how could I?
I don't know. Just say it.
I had to protect you.
That is bullshit, Nate. You just didn't have the nerve to face me again.
I knew you would react like this.
How would you react? You lied to me for weeks.
The emotional turmoil he put her through. And because Elena is very independent, charming, and generally likable, we feel the guilt as well. We, as the player, know how hurt she must have been. But she always comes back for Nathan, never abandoning him, even though she easily could.
Thanks for saving me. Again.
I almost didn't this time.
Right.
Come on.
Sam. Sam is an interesting character because we only learn about him in Uncharted 4, and therefore only have one game to really get to know him and his relationship to Nate. But I cannot stress this enough. Sam adds so much to Nathan as a character. We see so much of Nathan in Sam. We suddenly understand how Nathan became who he was in Uncharted 1. He wanted to be like his older brother, whom he always looked up to. He wanted to rebel, wanted to follow his own rules and live on his own terms, just like Sam. Sam is funny, suave, and very capable. And people who have been listening may realize that is the same words I described Nathan with in Uncharted 1. But what is the difference between the two, you may ask? You see, young Nathan was not being honest about himself. And as we get to know him better and see him create new relationships, he grows a huge heart for the people around him. He becomes the man he always was deep down, a vulnerable man with a heart of gold. Sam, on the other hand, is stuck in time. He hasn't developed past when they were boys. And Troy Baker said it perfectly.
But we sat down and we talked about it, and Travis, Laura's husband, and I are best friends, and we have this relationship of very much, even though he's younger than me, he's in our life situations, he's very much the older. And for me, with Sam and Nathan, it's very much of a situation where someone has never moved past a certain point in his life, and the younger has become the elder, and the elder has become the younger.
Meeting Sam in Uncharted 4 makes us realize how far Nathan has come, and how much he has grown throughout our 50-somewhat hours with him. And that he is not just some tough nail of a guy, but a vulnerable, caring, empathetic person with a tough guy exterior. Part 2. Story. Not many other games did storytelling quite like Uncharted 1 when it came out in 2007. The writing and performances came together with revolutionary graphics to form an experience like a playable summer blockbuster. But underneath all the bravado and humorous moments lied a curiosity for old historical figures whose footsteps we follow. By playing Uncharted, you actually learn a lot about world history and these explorers, thieves, and pirates of the old world. Although the plot at first glance is about finding a treasure, at least for the first 3 games, but I will get to that later, the underlying more important story is often about Nathan saving people he cares about because of his own recklessness. He has to make a choice of what is more important to him, the glory or the people.
It's different this time. I have to save him. I don't even care about the treasure.
The look on your face when you walked into this room. If you're done lying to me, then you should stop lying to yourself.
Okay, I found his map of the island, okay? That's his ship right under that mountain. That's where our treasure is. And it is exactly where Rafe is headed right now while we stand around here and argue like idiots.
What if he's already left the island and his ship sunk somewhere out there in the middle of the ocean?
Then we find out where it got sunk.
Oh, boy.
How long we been chasing this thing, huh? You and me. No offense to these guys, but they don't get it.
Actually, Sam, they do. They really do.
Okay.
Trust me, they've seen this kind of obsession before. Sam, we're not those kids anymore. We're not. And we got nothing to prove.
And because we see Nathan struggling with this decision in all of the first 3 games, it therefore adds a deep layer of understanding and heartbreak when we see Sam do the exact same thing in U4.
Hey, come on, just jump, I'll catch you. Let's go. No, don't you even think about it, you hear me?
I'm sorry I got you into this. All of you.
Hey, all that doesn't matter anymore, okay? Just jump.
I gotta see this thing through, Nathan.
Sam, hey, listen to me. If you do this, I'm not coming after you. You hear me?
I'm sorry.
Sam! Sam!
But where Sam falls, Nathan has risen above finally. But he knows what it means to be as obsessed by glory as Sam is. Treasure has become irrelevant for him. But throughout each of the games, there is an underlying B-plot with characters we almost never see. Nate is always following the footsteps of explorers and historians. These people were once on their own adventure many hundred years ago, but as we play through Nathan's story, we learn about their story as well. This is one of the aspects I feel makes Uncharted special and unique. Naughty Dog's ability to have 2 separate storylines going simultaneously without us realizing it. One in the present day with our hero, and one many hundreds of years ago. The incentive to explore got bigger and bigger with each game. And for me, I would scour every inch of Uncharted 4 for clues about Henry Avery and his pirate gang, so that I wouldn't miss a story beat. And in Uncharted 4, it felt that much more satisfying when we reached New Devon with Elena.
And just like that, all the treasure of Libertalia becomes the sole possession of 2 men. These are some of history's greatest pirates, and they all perished in an instant at this very table.
It's incredible.
The weight of the looks between Nate and Elena.
I'm sorry.
No more words needs to be said.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Genius storytelling.
Don't they ever give up?
Part 3. Gameplay.
Shit.
I think that many people agree that in a cinematic sense and in terms of storytelling and cutscenes, Uncharted has always been light years ahead of the competition. But cutscenes and a good story doesn't necessarily make a good game. What does in fact make a good game is when you have fun while having the controller in your hand. When you control what happens on the screen and is an active part in it, it makes all the moments so much cooler than they would have been if they were just cutscenes being played for you to watch through. In Uncharted, you aren't relegated to sitting motionless and waiting. You are playing through these crazy scenarios. In Uncharted 1, you are shooting from a moving truck. In Uncharted 2, you are running, jumping, and fighting for dear life on a moving train, and later climbing up that same train. In Uncharted 3, well, you do a whole lot of stuff in that game. In Uncharted 4, you are speeding through rough waves in the middle of a thunderstorm and shooting backwards at an armored truck which is out to kill you. Moments in the story where many game developers probably would have relinquished control from the player. But not Naughty Dog. They give you full control. And even though it is on a guided path, in most cases it doesn't matter because of the illusion it creates, that you are in fact playing an action summer blockbuster. This is also why, in my opinion, the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg didn't work as well as the games. Because it essentially is the same experience of the games, but without the ability to feel the action yourself. It strips that part away from the experience, and you miss it when watching it. When it comes to gameplay, Uncharted has always been very simple. What makes Uncharted is basically combat, traversal, exploration, and puzzles. Combat is very simple. You have 2 weapons at a time, a small firearm and a larger one. You can use your fists, but it pretty much ends there. The weapons don't have unlimited ammo, which forces you to switch up your playstyle once in a while. It is simple, but it works fine. Combat is later changed up a bit in Uncharted 4, with the introduction of stealth and the rope, which adds a lot to the combat scenarios. But what Uncharted is perhaps more generally known for is the traversal and puzzle aspects. In Uncharted, you do a lot of climbing up and down buildings and cliffsides. This was also changed up a bit later in Uncharted 4, with the rope, sliding, and the more free climbing movement system. Overall, people tend to bash the climbing in the first Uncharted games, but I think they made it way more fun and engaging in Uncharted 4. I always thought it felt amazing to use the combinations of the slides and the rope, which could transition into a combat scenario flawlessly. The puzzles have always been an integral part of the Uncharted experience. Nathan's journal with all the convenient clues and solutions has basically become iconic now. Some puzzles can be very simple and not require that much thinking, but they are more there to kind of break up the gameplay. On the other hand, there are the puzzles which kind of make you think, and they can definitely get on your nerves sometimes, but they feel that much more satisfying to crack. They take a bit longer to grasp and get the idea of. But when things fall into place, you feel like you accomplished something, and that is always a great feeling to have. You feel like an explorer must feel in that situation. You feel like Nathan Drake. All of what I have mentioned in this video up until now collides and combines into this specific feeling you get while playing Uncharted. You feel like you're on an adventure. You feel like you are exploring these old ruins and hanging from cliffs by your fingertips. That adventure feeling is what makes Uncharted so awesome and one of the main reasons I keep coming back to it.
Sully, you beautiful son of a bitch!
Borrowed it off a couple of pirates who were too dead to care.
You want to play games to escape reality, and what better reality than being a treasure hunter with the ability to jump as far as he damn pleases. Thanks for watching. If you have another reason as to why Uncharted is awesome, be sure to drop a comment down below. I know I must have missed something, so help me out. I love these games and could talk about them for many hours straight.
It's literally unbelievable. You tell me you stumble upon yet another archaeological gold mine, and somehow you manage to walk away with nothing.
Yeah, well, it's a story of my life, I guess.